Hello, my friends. It's Andy coming to you from Yorba Linda, California for the Andy Falco Show. And today we're going to be talking about last week's school board meeting where Joey, who used to be a principal over at El Dorado, made a spectacle of himself by lying in front of a crowd of friendlies in the teachers union. And they screamed out and in their demonic way in approval of him getting in front of a bunch of people and lying about his circumstances and what happened. I thought I would clear up some of the nonsense that we've been hearing from teachers union hacks and some of the unfortunate. There's a couple parents, unfortunately, they're useful idiots and just believe what is being said. And you'll see one on the camera who comes over and puts her hand over my camera and then walks out in support of Joey Davis. I do not believe she's an educator, but so it's just sad to see parents who are for debauchery in a high school, drug dealing, fights, drag shows, and that kind of stuff. So it's just disheartening. You would think that if you're a parent, you want to protect your kids and make sure they go to a school to learn about reading, writing, and counting, not put in the middle of a whole bunch of other nonsense. But let me go ahead and get started on the video and explain a lot of things that you need to know about Joey and his childishness at the school board meeting and what have you. I hate it when somebody of the same gender, a man, gets up and acts like a little weasel. It really just is upsetting on that level alone. But then to think that person was in charge of our kids. That's the other thing. That is beyond shameful. It is something that somebody needs to be called out for. It is shocking that he found a job at a neighboring district like Brea Linda. And I think they've put themselves in civil liability harm by hiring Joey Davis. But again, that'll be up to them when the time comes where hopefully nothing happens. But if it does, Joey will probably need to be looked at as a reason why that happened. First of all, Joey Davis was over at El Dorado High School. I think he'd been there something like 8 years. One of the most well-known things that he did is he harassed two police officers that were SROs over at Placentia PD while they were on the campus on a daily basis, that they filed a hostile work environment. So that's what you need to know about this dude who gets up and acts, I'm a victim, they pushed me out, which none of that is true. I think they should have pushed him out. That's the whole thing. I think he should have been fired. I think he should have been walked out of the campus, but that didn't happen. And he was given an opportunity to work at the district. He was going to be given a raise, all against what I thought that should happen. And he was the one who chose not to take the new job. He's the one who walked out. But yet he got up in front of the school board audience and pretended he was some type of victim. But this was under the direction of the teachers union. And you will see in the audience, and that's why I'm only showing this last part. It's not worth showing the whole part. You can go to the school board meeting and listen to his nonsense in the speech. But what I wanted you to see is to see the people in the audience, most of which are old, haggard, retired teachers. Some current teachers, I recognize teachers from Brookhaven and Golden Elementary, all in support of the teachers union, all in support of Joey Davis. Again, remembering that the teachers union is one entity, and then you have the teachers who are amazing people, most of them in our school district. Other than these couple that were there, many of them were wearing red shirts. You'll hear an old man yell out, I think he needed help standing up and he needed help sitting back down. This is how far retired he is. He probably retired 30 years ago, saying, you go girl, or something like that. No, he said, what did he say? He said, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Make sure and listen for that. But who knows what that dude did. Linda Mannion leading the charge. Sue Sawyer, the first one to stand. These are all people that really have not done a service to show teachers in a positive light. So you have retired teachers just showing a poor example of what a teacher should look like. And then you have these few teachers that do teach currently at some of these schools that my kids go to school to. That's how I recognize them. I think there's other teachers from some of the middle schools, probably from Yorba Linda High School. There's a couple that are over there. And again, like I said, there are maybe 2 or 3 parents who support Joey Davis, who I think they're just friends with him. And they just don't want to believe that he's as horrible of a principal as he was. But yet, I'm going to show you the proof when that comes up. So enough about that. Here's the video of him ending his speech and the nonsense that took place afterwards. Here we go.
Payments paid by board members. My payment was not discussed in closed session. your service.
Thank you. Actions proposed for the consent calendar items are consistent with approved practices of the district and are deemed routine in nature.
Should be
Trustees
ashamed of
receive board
yourself.
agenda, backup information in advance of scheduled
Remember,
meetings.
vote!
So yeah, so I don't know. I would never. Who would put your hand? Would you put your hand on somebody else's phone when they're filming or taking a picture or something like that? Unless I don't know if you're wanted by the FBI or something like that or what have you. But obviously it was a show of you're a horrible person. Joey Davis is amazing. I'm for the teachers union. I'm for drugs in our schools. I'm for fights breaking out on a regular basis. I'm for drag shows at our dances, and you put your hand up over the camera. You heard the guy then say something towards the end there. On this next video, after I got the woman to take her hand off my phone, you'll hear them filing out. Now, it's hard to hear. Now, one of the teachers yells out, F you, or F you all, or F off. And then somebody else says that they see one of the teachers give a double middle finger to the crowd as they walked out. And it's showing you what the teachers union is all about. They're horrific, horrible people. They've been lying over the last several months during this campaign about Leandra Blades, calling her a murderer, calling her an insurrectionist, and then they have what they've done to Ryan Miller on Post, calling him a Christian nationalist, to a wife beater, to a number of other things. They've done the same thing to Cal, who was running the USI. They've tried to destroy his family and his business by putting bad reviews on, by reporting him to the state for nonsense that wasn't even a thing. And so these are the people that all stood up. These are all, again, you got to understand. You can get caught up in thinking, well, a bunch of people supported him. No, that wasn't people. That was a teachers union. That was a group of a cabal who do not like what is happening in our school, and that is our school district, and that is success. So let me play this next video and show you, and just try to hear. You can hear somebody say F off or F you all or something like that, and then the crowd hushes for a second and said, oh my God, did the teacher just really say that? And yes, an active teacher in our school district actually said that, and then an actual teacher flipped them off. I'm not going to say who they are because my kids still go to the school that they teach at, and I don't want any retaliation on my kids. But here you go. Here's the next video. The guy who's harassed law enforcement.
You boy!
Nice talk for a teacher. Yeah.
We're not going to let them interrupt our meeting. Let's just continue on. Whoever's going to disrupt our meeting, move. Get out of the...
Yeah, so that happened. So you're probably asking yourself, why would that happen? Why would Joey Davis get up there and speak like that and talk about how he was forced out? And again, there was just so much nonsense. You can watch the whole thing, like I said, on the school board meeting. But what that was all about, just so you know, is that you had Dr. Alex Chernis, who gave a State of the District talk for a good 45 minutes, maybe an hour, which took that long to talk about all the positive things that are happening. And so Dr. Alex Chernis, who's doing an amazing job, who is doing all of this without the teachers union approval, which they hate, and they despise it so much that they will do anything they can to discredit Dr. Alex Chernis. And so the reason that they did what they did is because they want the community to believe that Dr. Alex Chernis unnecessarily removed, according to them, one of the best principals ever, which nobody likes. I've talked to children, they go to the schools because my kids have lots of friends that are on all their sports, cheerleading, lacrosse, football, baseball, basketball, you have it. I see them all, and I have not heard one positive thing from any of them. And to hear any of the parents talk about Joey Davis, they cannot stand him. And so they were happy to see him leave. And so you have the people there, which doesn't represent the parents at all, other than two that I saw. But they were really, in doing that, they were trying to attack the integrity of Dr. Alex Chernis, saying that he forced him out and lied to him and did a whole bunch of stuff. And again, nothing could be further from the truth. But I'm going to just really quickly, because I want you to go back and really see the State of the District, which is amazing stuff. But here's just some of the slides. And as you can see, there is everything that is positive that we need as parents to see in our school district. And none of these have been in the plus in the last several years. Even before COVID, it has all been declining. As you can see there on the left, the declining enrollment just drops from 25,000 in 2019 to 22,000 in, I'm sorry, that was 25,000, sorry, not 23, 25,000 in 2019, all the way down to 22,000, which is significant. And for the first time, we see an uptick to 22,786. Math achievement going up. Remember, I've been telling you about a decline in math achievement. We fell under 50%. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 30% based on what was shared with us in previous administrations. English is in a positive, which it hasn't been in years. You got intervention of 2,000 students. You got investment in early childhood education through preschool and TK. You have special education inclusion in preschools, which is up by 30%. You have college and career readiness up by 524, which is amazing, an 88.4% pass rate. And it's just incredible. Just so many pluses. And there are more slides that I couldn't include there. So you see, what happened was you had all this positive, and the teachers union just could not have that, broadcast out to the community, because they want you to believe that, as you've been reading it all through the social medias, that there has been a purge, that there's been hundreds and hundreds of teachers lost in our school district, that 25 principals and vice principals have been fired, that there is so many teachers that are scared for their jobs. There's a little flyer that went out. You've probably seen this. It says no confidence. And there's so many crazy, stupid things on there, which are not true. It's a lie card full of lies. And it says over $3 million of taxpaying dollars is wasted in personal project. That is not even true at all. Zero has been spent on personal projects, but $1 million has been used to create an amazing program called the Universal Sports Institute. Mass releases of dedicated school administrators. There's not been a mass. One principal was not renewed and completely told to leave, get off campus. He was walked out. One, Joey Davis, he was offered a promotion at the district, and he chose to leave. What was voted on, which I'll share with you in a minute, is for him not to return as principal at El Dorado, but he was going to keep a job at PYLUSD. Hostile workplace, cover-ups, and intentional misleading to the public, rejecting state. So all of this nonsense they're sending out, and they are trying to get the community through the show of support for a man who is the worst principal, one of the worst principals probably in PYLUSD history, so that they can attack Dr. Alex Chernis and the majority school board trustees. Do you see that? Do you understand what I'm telling you? That they don't care about Joey Davis. They just wanted you to believe that Dr. Alex Chernis has done something egregious in his removal from being a principal over at El Dorado High School. And I'm going to show you that is not true at all. Dr. Alex Chernis, I believe what he was trying to do was say, you know what, I believe that he's been here long enough for that if we just flat out fire him, that I just want to show a little respect for his time here at PYSD, so I'm going to offer him a job at the district. They had enough complaints, enough things going on, enough negativity over at El Dorado High School that he could have fired him, but he chose to give him a promotion instead to the district. And yet here, on this day at the school board meeting, Joey Davis decided to spit in Dr. Alex Chernis's face and give the union something to cheer about and to put out there in an effort to damage the reputation of Dr. Alex Chernis. That's what a lowlife Joey is. The fact that he went up there and was led by the ear by the union. He didn't do that on his own. He was told to do it. He was given the script to read, and he got up there and just did what he was told. And that's really what happened. That's the weasel that Joey Davis is. And why is that? Joey Davis is controlled by Planned Parenthood, APLE, NEA, CTA. He's a complete hack for them, and he was willing to do that for them because they made sure he found a different job. Do you see what happened? He was able to find a different job over at Brea Linda as a principal because of his connections to the union, not because he knows what he's doing. He's incompetent. He's not a great principal. But out of the abundance of favor that he got from the union, he felt that he had to return the favor and come to a PYLUSD School Board meeting and put on a show for them. The interesting thing that you need to know is that Joey Davis was voted to not have his contract renewed by 5 out of the 5 school board trustees. 5 out of the 5. That means that all 5 of them agreed that his lack of leadership over at El Dorado High School was so bad that he could not return to El Dorado. And it shows you right there, 5-0. Now, they're saying that this is not true, but again, just understand that I've been investigating things for a good 30 years as a police officer and then an investigator for the Anaheim Police Department. And through my investigative experience and working things out, just one, there was no other vote for a certificated employee in the time span where even Joey Davis admitted during his talk that occurred in February. And this is that vote where it was voted on that he not return as principal, 5-0. So what does that mean? Why do I bring that up? Because the 2 other people that are supported by the teachers union happen to be Carrie Buck and Marilyn Anderson, and they voted for him not to return to the El Dorado High School. So that's how bad he is. He's so bad that even the teachers union's reps, as Carrie and Marilyn are, or they align with, is they voted for him not to be renewed. That's how bad Joey Davis was. They didn't think that he belonged over at El Dorado High School. So don't you find that odd that back in February that of 2023, I believe, no, 2024, sorry, that they believed that he was so bad that he should not return as principal. Yet here we are today, or last Tuesday, the union says, hey, you know what we need? Because we got your job over at Brea Linda, we need you to show up on this Tuesday, and here's your speech. You're going to read this. You're going to talk about how horrible Dr. Alex Chernis, and then we are going to give you a standing ovation, and it's going to make the community believe that Dr. Alex Chernis is a horrible person, that he undermined your career or what have you, and we're going to try to show the community that he's a horrible person, so we need to do that. And he probably went, no, I really don't want to do that. And he goes, you need to do that or else we'll make sure that you do not last over at Brea Linda. Okay, I'll do it. So that's what happened. So this is how powerful the teachers union is. And that over the last couple months or so, they've spent $75,000 and donated this money to the friendly candidates, which is Misty Jansen, Tricia Quintero, and Marilyn Anderson. And that is how much money that they can just simply throw at those 3 candidates. Their signs, they even have signs that just talk about how horrible the district is. You've seen those being posted up really high on some of the lampposts and that kind of stuff. Save our schools, to Alex Chernis must go signs. They are just so desperate because with Dr. Alex Chernis in charge, the union does not have control over schools, which means that Dr. Alex Chernis can make sure that education occurs at every one of our schools. That people like Joey Davis, who do not care about education, who care more about the indoctrination and the lawlessness that happens at a school, endangering our kids, they want that to return. Because when there is chaos at our schools, when children aren't learning, they can then ask the state for more money because they'll say, you know what, we're having difficulty with our kids that are not learning. We have fights breaking out all the time. We have drugs in our schools. We need more money. And that is the way that the system works, is the union only works based on the chaos. That's the way that they continue to exist and are able to lobby Sacramento to give them more money so that they can fix these problems that they themselves are creating. So here's a quote that I got from a parent that sent me a text message and says, Joey Davis created a culture of debauchery at El Dorado High School, and then went on to send me some pictures. And so here are some of the complaints. And it's just not about the Placentia officers, but that's huge with me, obviously, where he had a hostile work environment filed against him to the chief of police over Placentia Police Department, Chief Butts, and said that we can't work there. He makes our life miserable. He won't let us try to fight the crime that's occurring on campus. He doesn't want anybody to see us. He wants us to hide in offices. And he just made it so difficult for these officers to do their job that they finally had to file a complaint. And what was happening? There were boys in the girls' room complaints that I had received myself, which I don't work for the district, but they wanted me to make sure they get the word out that these things were happening, that were boys in the girls' bathroom who were taking pictures and they were going pee because they were told that boys can go in the girls' bathroom as long as you say that you're a girl. Rampant drug use in the restrooms. We know that was happening for a fact because one of our children got caught up in the drug use over at the schools. We eventually, because the high school was so dangerous, we had to remove her and begin to homeschool her, which thank God she did because her life is amazing now and she's doing so much better. But the rampant drug use in restrooms will just grasp hold of the most vulnerable students and grab hold of them, and some students fall to this. This is why they needed the SROs at the school. Rampant drug sales and exchanges on campus. Nobody's business. If you needed drugs, you could just get it right there on campus. Drug overdoses. I know of several over the years that my kids were there. Several times that ambulances, fire trucks had to come there due to drug overdoses. I think one of them included fentanyl. At least one of them included fentanyl. Drag shows at dances. Daily dress code violations. This was one of the most common complaints that I had parents emailing me about and text messaging me about, and wanted to make sure that the district knew about. The problem was at the time that I got most of these, we didn't have Dr. Alex Chernis. We had knuckleheads like Matthews and Elsasser and Plutko who didn't care. They loved the fact that there were so many dress code violations. They didn't think that was necessary to police. Unusual amount of fights on school campuses. A large amount of fights, almost weekly, were occurring at El Dorado High School under Joey Davis's tenure over there. Teachers inserting CRT and SEL into class lessons and discussions. Even after we banned it from our school district, it was still occurring over at El Dorado High School. Teacher teaching children how to anally masturbate with a vibrator and providing a demonstration, not on her anus, but with her hands, and I believe there was some other instrument there that she was using to demonstrate how to do a prostate massage or masturbation. I'm not sure exactly how she worded it, but there was a video of it, and it made its way through social media. And then pornographic books found in the library, which one parent got in front of the school board meeting and read from the book. And Matthews, I believe it was, and I think also under Elsasser, I think it happened twice under both superintendents. It was so graphic and so pornographic that they both told her to stop reading because it was pornographic. But yet it was okay to be at the library there at El Dorado High School. So you're saying, Andy, those are words, and I just don't believe it. If you're that woman who put her hand over the camera, or you're one of the two other parents that support Joey Davis, which you're crazy if you do. There's something definitely wrong if you support Joey Davis. But here's just some of the pictures. This is some of the things that were going on over there. You got them putting, and you're gonna cause a culture clash when you have, I'm going to go back to the screen. What they don't realize, or really Joey didn't realize, and what the union doesn't realize, is that you have a majority of children that go to that school who do not believe in any of that stuff. They don't believe in any of the woke stuff. I have proof of that they lean heavier on the conservative side of things. Many of them are Trump supporters. Many of them are Robert Kennedy Jr. Supporters. And none of those supporters, which would be somewhere in the 60, 70 percentile from what I saw from the study that was recently done, believe in any of this stuff. And so when you're creating a certain type of culture in a high school that is leaning heavy on the things that children don't believe in, you're going to get stuff like this. This is what I'm talking about, this cult. If you didn't have the culture siding in a way that children don't like it, then you wouldn't have them grabbing flags from other kids and throwing them into the urinals in the boys' bathroom. You got the drag show. This was at one of the dances at El Dorado High School. You can see the banners up there at the top on the one on the left, and the drag show person, actress, actor, I don't know what you call them, who was up there dancing on stage with Joey Davis standing right there next to the stage, enjoying it, clapping and dancing right alongside the transgender person. You have one of these fights that break out. This is on social media. Yo! That was a girl. That was from social media. That wasn't a video that I took. That was one that I found on social media. You had a few teachers who had this badge that has a QR code that leads them to the National Educators Association website that teaches kids how to find things that will help them with their gender confusion, which further harms children and even those kids that are, again, vulnerable, that are looking for an escape. And we'll go to This Is What's Happening on Campus. You have the books that I told you about that were being found in the library, Genderqueer being one of those for sure. This Book Is Gay is another one I know for sure. And quite possibly all of these books were being found on there. Here's one of the pages that you see. I love this one because it has Tampon Tim on there who believes that there should be tampons in the boys' restroom. But this is just one of the pages from Genderqueer showing a boy how to give a blowjob to another boy. And that's what they believe. Joey Davis thinks is great. Here are all the complaints and emails that I received and then forwarded to the school district over, this was back last year, and maybe even a couple from the previous year. But these are just some of the emails: LGBTQ issues, narcotics detection dog issues, offensive flags on campus, girls holding their urine because they're too afraid to go to the bathroom because there's boys in there taking pictures of them, and so on and so forth. That is just a smattering. I have so many pictures and clips and things that are just crazy that were happening under Joey Davis, and I hesitate to say leadership, but that's what was happening. This is what all of those people in that room were cheering for. They loved the chaos. They loved the fights. They loved the drug use. They loved the drug sales. They love the transgender nonsense, that you can manage that. You can have some of these things going on, but you can manage it so that you don't have a breakout of harassment from kids that don't believe in it, or vice versa. But no, Joey Davis didn't want that. The teachers union doesn't want that. Without chaos, you can't create a program where you're going to ask for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, even millions of dollars to fix the problem that you're creating. That when you see what happens when you have that kind of chaos going on in the school, looking for another word to use other than chaos, when you have that culture that you are creating in a school, you are going to have all of the things that you can see there where there's this culture clash and people begin to fight. That boy you saw in that fight that ended up being on top, that was his third fight in something like 2 months. So that video was the third fight. Nothing was ever being done. They did nothing. Joey Davis did nothing to stop the fights, the aggression, the drug use, the nonsense that was going on. Because remember, what he didn't want the school resource officers stopping any of those things. This is the reason why the police officers filed a hostile work environment, because they knew the drug use was going on, they knew the drug sales was going on, they knew the fights was going on, and any time they tried to intervene, he harassed them and told them not to do it, and eventually they had to file a hostile work environment. This is what, again, those teachers at Brookhaven, at Golden Elementary, at Yorba Linda High School, at Yorba Linda Middle School, the teachers that were there were cheering for Joey Davis. Yay, Joey Davis creates a culture of chaos over at El Dorado High School. We want more of that. That woman who came up, that mom, she enjoys the fact that they were selling drugs at El Dorado, that kids were getting high and they were overdosing to the point where they had to call the ambulances to save their lives. Yay for Joey Davis. That is fantastic. This is what she was cheering for. So you got to understand what was really behind it. What was behind it was the teachers union, in their protection of their power at PYLUSD, sought out Joey Davis and said, hey, we got you a job over at Brea Linda High School. You need to come back. You need to do this for us. And you need to read this letter And you need to lay it out there that Dr. Alex Chernus wronged you and that he's a horrible person and he did all these things to do you, that he's nasty. We need you to be our little bitch and get up there and do, oh, sorry, I was really going to try. I was really going to try not to say that. But you need to do this. You're going to be our little B word. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say, yes, we hate Dr. Alex Chernus and we love Joey, but you need to do this. And Joey Davis, like the little dog he is, he went up there and did exactly that. So just so you don't think I'm the only person who thinks this way or knows all about Joey Davis, here's a parent who posted in one of the social medias. I didn't put her name on there because, again, it's just not, because they'll attack her or him and say that he should not have written this or what have you. I don't know. But this is from another parent who has children that are going to school over there. And it says the board majority is doing just that. That's in response to whatever was the previous post. Putting those responsible for poor behavior on notice. They are praising Joey Davis for what? I'm talking about the teachers union. Was it okay for Joey Davis, former principal of Eldo, to allow kids to vape and or smoke weed in bathrooms and not reprimand students? What about not intervening or stopping fights on campus? What about him not stopping a few boy students from taking pictures of girls in the restrooms, harassing SROs on his campus where they almost pulled the program until Dr. Chernus stepped in? The parents would reach out to him and he would do absolutely nothing to fix any of the situations I mentioned above. This is all from parents telling community members firsthand about these issues. These three candidates, Jansen, Quintero, and Anderson, are all backed by the union. Why is the union so heavily involved? Because they want to call the shots on our children. They know these three will do anything they say. The board members are for the parents, the current board members, not the unions. Blades, Miller, or Stubbs aren't bought and paid for by the union. They want to put the parents in the front seat of everything involving our children. They are for parental notification when the union endorsed candidates aren't. They alone should say something to all. That alone should say something to all parents. We just need to keep speaking truth. I love that post, and I wish I knew that woman, but that was a great post. Again, that I just wanted to make sure that you could hear from somebody else other than me. There's so many parents that want to speak out because they're concerned about their children. I understand that. Because they know they've attacked my children. They've shared all kinds of just crazy stuff with my kids, and my kids come here, hey, Dad, I just heard that you're a pedophile. Okay, great. Or they just all post one where they said that I wanted to have sex with my daughter. This is the kind of people that stood up. This is the kind of people like that parent that put her hand on my camera. These are the people that they are brainwashed. They are useful idiots. There's something seriously wrong with these teachers at Brookhaven and Golden who go to the school board meetings and support a union who force an old principal to come back and to say something in order to attack the superintendent. So one last time, here are the three candidates you have to vote for unless you want the union to take over and to turn things back to the Joey Davis chaos. If you want your schools to look like those slides that I showed you, then vote for those other idiots. But if you want growth like we saw during the state of the district, if you want Dr. Alex to continue what's happening here at PYLUSD, making PYLUSD one of the strongest school districts in the area, then you need to vote for Ryan Miller in Area 1, Maria Lupita Stubbs in Area 2, Leandra Blades in Area 3. And again, I am so sorry. I try so hard not to use bad words and to call people's names, because I know some people, he shouldn't call people names. At some point, when you have people like Joey, people who do what he did. Just look at those slides, right? You can't blame me as somebody who cares about her kids. I forgot what gender I am. I have kids that go to these schools, and a man was in charge of the school who was allowing all of the things that I showed you on those slides and getting away with it. You would report it to the superintendent like Matthews or El Sasser or Plutko, and they would do nothing. They would just laugh. Oh, there's Mr. Falco, or there's Mrs. Jones, or there's Mrs. They're talking about drug dealing. Ignore them. You know what? Those cops, tell them just to sit in the office and shut up. Tell them not to go out and to enforce any of the laws. This is my campus. I don't want you over there harassing any of the kids. Just give the drugs back to them and let them take it onto their class and tell them to do it after school or something like that. But we don't want you enforcing laws. That's the guy who was running. That's the guy that they were cheering for. That's the guy that was running El Dorado High School. Dr. Alex Chernus was doing him a favor by giving him a promotion at the school district. And he turns around and he craps on Dr. Alex Chernus in the way that he does, but why? Because the union told him to. The union wrote him a speech and said, you owe us for us making sure that you could get a job over at Brea Olinda, and he did it. And he acted like the little lapdog that he is. And like I said in one of the previous videos about Joey, is that make sure and send this video out to parents who have kids over at Brea Olinda, because when it comes time, if one of their children gets hurt over there, that at the school that he's principal of, you may find some of this content useful in the lawsuit against the school district about putting a known incompetent person in charge of the kids over there in Brea Olinda. All right, my friends, that's it for me. We'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.